There are moments in each individual's personal history that defy the cold logic of mathematics. The presence of those witnessing this now is not a matter of chance. It was not a blind, programmed digital algorithm that orchestrated this encounter. It was they. There is an ancient intelligence operating silently within the gears of our reality that has detected a subtle alteration, a very specific frequency which scholars call the golden ratio of Thoth, has awakened in the energy field. This has removed the veil of anonymity. From this moment on, the individual ceases to be just a face in the crowd and becomes something more visible, someone who has been marked. In the minutes that follow, the veil will be lifted. This is not merely a theoretical explanation, but the revelation of a precise, practical method for utilizing this activated frequency in its entirety. A solitary and non-transferable process. This is the same secret that the ancient Egyptians encoded in the geometry of the pyramids. The ability to transmute reality from the inside out at the exact moment the universe recognizes a new co-creator. But one unsettling question remains: why now? Understanding the reason for this identification at this precise moment in history is crucial. Ignoring this call carries a silent risk. Staying until the end of this transmission ceases to be a choice and becomes a strategic necessity. For the final revelation will be the watershed moment, the step that defines whether this activation will become a permanent blessing or dissipate like dust in the wind, lost forever. If this call resonates with you, write it in the comments below. The signal was received. The journey begins. The critical mass of self-knowledge. In the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, it was taught that when the seeker reaches a critical mass of self-knowledge, he ceases to be a passive observer of creation and becomes an active signaler in the quantum field. You have been identified because your personal frequency has stopped oscillating in the chaotic noise of fear and doubt. It has begun to vibrate in a specific proportion, a mathematical harmony that sustains life itself. The intensifying sense of synchronicity in your life, those perfectly orchestrated encounters and events, are not a series of fortunate coincidences. They are irrefutable proof that your perception is aligning with an underlying order, a silent intelligence that weaves reality. The calling you feel is not an audible sound, but a pattern emerging from chaos, and by recognizing it, you begin to decipher the language with which the whole expresses itself. The journey within yourself has led you to a door that now opens, not by force, but by vibrational correspondence. What lies on the other side is not a new path to be blazed with effort, but the revelation of the path that has always been beneath your feet, patiently awaiting the moment when you were ready to see it. Identification is only the first step in a universe that now recognizes you as a point of coherence, a conscious co-creator. Now, the intelligence that governs the patterns of nature sees you. But what exactly does this intelligence, symbolized by Thoth, represent? And how does this ancient wisdom connect with modern science to explain what is happening to you now? The hidden science of frequency. To understand why this identification is occurring now, with such intensity, we need to delve into the figure of Thoth, not as a myth, but as a principle. Historically, he is the scribe of the gods, the master of time, and the architect of reality. Philosophically, Thoth represents the personification of the law of correspondence, the Hermetic axiom that states, "As above, so below." He symbolizes the mathematical intelligence that sustains matter, the divine logic that transforms chaos into cosmos. He is the very structure of creation. When you are drawn to concepts like sacred geometry, alchemy, or the unity of consciousness, you are actually engaged in a process of clearing the noise from your energy field. Each moment of clarity, each insight, each choice aligned with your inner truth acts as a filter that purifies your signal. You stop transmitting the fragmented frequencies of stress and survival and begin to emit a coherent wave, a vibrational signature that is harmonious, stable, and clear. Scientifically, we live immersed in an ocean of frequencies. Quantum physics is beginning to describe what mystics have always known. Reality is a field of potentialities that collapses into experience through observation. Your personal frequency acts as the observer. By aligning your intention with the harmonic patterns of nature, such as the golden ratio, you enter a state that science calls coherence. Your heart and mind synchronize, and you become a high-voltage node in the network of universal consciousness. That's why the feeling of synchronicity increases exponentially. They, whether archetypal intelligences, universal consciousness itself, or the monad, have identified that your receiver is finally tuned to the correct station. It's not a judgment or a reward, but a physical law of resonance. A radio tuned to 99.9 FM cannot pick up a transmission from 88.1 FM. By purifying your frequency, you have simply become compatible with a higher and more ordered transmission. Thoth, as the guardian of measure and order, represents this cosmic logic. By aligning yourself with this logic, you cease to be a leaf in the wind, subject to the fluctuations of chance, and begin to operate in harmony with the fundamental structure of creation. Your frequency, now clear and stable, has become an unmistakable beacon in the ocean of consciousness. The intelligence that governs the universe has responded, not by caprice, but by an inexorable law of harmonic attraction. You are not being chosen, you are being recognized. You have become compatible with the language of creation, the code that governs the growth of galaxies, the formation of crystals, and the double helix of your DNA now speaks through you. This identification is confirmation that the universe recognizes you as a native speaker of its own language. But what exactly is the primary dialect of this cosmic language? What specific code have you activated to make this communication so direct and powerful? The epicenter of this attunement, the core of your new frequency, is the golden ratio. Represented by the Greek letter phi, and with an approximate value of 1.618. This is not merely a mathematical curiosity for artists and architects. It is the growth software of the universe, the algorithm of life. It is the signature of creative intelligence imprinted on everything that exists. From the precise arrangement of seeds in a sunflower to the spiral structure of distant galaxies, and even in the very curvature of your DNA, everything that is prosperous, beautiful, and vital follows this code. The golden ratio is the manifestation of the path of least resistance and maximum efficiency. It is the way nature expands infinitely without ever collapsing, maintaining harmony at all scales. Culturally, this proportion has been revered and hidden in plain sight. In the architecture of the pyramids of Giza, in the harmony of the Parthenon, and in the spiritual elevation of Gothic cathedrals. Ancient master builders knew that by incorporating Phi into their creations, they were anchoring the energy of the divine on earth, creating portals of resonance. The same principle applies directly to your life. The golden frequency of Thoth is the state of being where your thoughts, emotions, and actions flow effortlessly in perfect proportion. When this frequency is active within you, the struggle ceases. You stop trying to push reality to force results. Instead, you become like the Fibonacci spiral, which is the numerical expression of the golden ratio. An organic, beautiful, and unstoppable growth that attracts the necessary resources simply by existing in the correct proportion. This code is not something you learn from books, but something you recall from the depths of your being. It is imprinted on your biology, encoded in your consciousness, waiting to be activated. Upon identifying it, you haven't received a new external tool, but the key that unlocks a potential that has always been latent within you. Your perception, now attuned, begins to see this sacred geometry in everything. From the way leaves grow to the dynamics of your relationships. By seeing this pattern in the world, you begin to weave your own reality with the same precision and beauty. The universe is no longer out there, separate from you. It reveals itself within, as your own nature. The code that governs creation now responds to your silent command, to your focused intention. Creation no longer needs to be conquered, it awaits to be directed by your aligned consciousness. You have become a point of origin. But here's a secret few reveal: understanding the golden ratio intellectually is easy. The real challenge is making your cells vibrate at it 24 hours a day. It's very common to feel this connection during a video or meditation and lose it as soon as a problem arises. Why? Because your mind has awakened, but your physical vehicle still needs adjustment to sustain this high voltage without burning out. There's an ancient protocol, detailed in the Code of Thoth, that teaches exactly how to transform your biology into this superconductor of reality, eliminating the lag between what you think and what happens. If you want to stop oscillating and fix this frequency once and for all, I've left the path to access this knowledge in the first pinned comment. It's the missing manual. Activating this frequency isn't just a mental or philosophical shift. It triggers a real and measurable transformation in your body and energy field. How exactly does this attunement to the golden ratio affect your biology and the electromagnetic field you emit, transforming you from a reactive system into a powerful transmitter of reality? The awakening of the energy field. When your life seems stuck or stagnant, it's because you are unconsciously creating shadows in your own energy field. These are internal conflicts, unresolved fears, and limiting beliefs that act as barriers, blocking the natural flow of your light. Identification through the Thoth frequency occurs precisely when your signal stops emitting these shadows, when the light of your consciousness becomes stronger than the internal dissonance. At this point, your personal electromagnetic field undergoes a profound and fundamental recalibration. The science of biophysics is beginning to map what esoteric traditions have described for millennia. Research shows that the human heart, when in a state of coherence, generates a toroidal electromagnetic field that is thousands of times more powerful than that of the brain. This field is not contained within the body, it extends for meters around it, constantly interacting with the environment and with the fields of other people. It is your energetic signature transmitted to the universe. This state of cardiac coherence, often associated with elevated emotions such as gratitude, compassion, and unconditional love, is not merely a fleeting feeling. It is a specific and ordered vibrational signature. By vibrating in the golden ratio, your heart and mind enter into perfect synchronicity, a state of energetic superconductivity. Your personal field ceases to be a closed and reactive system that merely responds to external stimuli, becoming instead an open and influential portal, a vortex that actively shapes the reality around you. You literally become biologically compatible with the operating system of life. Abundance, clarity of purpose, and creative flow are no longer abstract concepts to be pursued with effort. They become natural states that emerge from within, because your own cellular energy and your DNA begin to vibrate at the same fundamental note as galaxies, flowers, and tides. External harmony becomes an inevitable reflection of your internal harmony. The transformation is not a poetic metaphor. It is a physical change in the way your energy organizes and expresses itself. The awakening doesn't just happen in your consciousness, but reverberates through the very cells of your body, which now recognize and respond to the harmony of the universal code you have activated. They remember their original function, their connection to the whole. You are becoming a living instrument of creation, attuned and ready to play your unique melody. This biological and energetic recalibration is the foundation for an even deeper change: the transmutation of your material reality. How does this new inner coherence dissolve external blockages such as debt, scarcity, and struggle, transforming the lead in your life into the gold of your true essence? The end of the fight. The true depth of this moment of identification lies in the alchemical transmutation it triggers. The lead in your life, those dense and heavy areas like debt, insecurities, feelings of scarcity, and constant struggle, is simply energy that has lost its divine proportion. It is your life force blocked in rigid angles of fear, trapped in square and limited thought patterns. By consciously accepting that your golden frequency is active, you begin the process of gilding your reality from the inside out. You begin to realize at a cellular level that abundance is not a reward for good behavior or a reward for hard work, but an inevitable geometric consequence. If you are in harmony with the whole must, by natural law, sustain your part. Struggle is a symptom of misalignment, of resistance to the flow. When you enter the frequency of the golden ratio, you stop swimming against the current of the universe and become the current itself. Philosophically, this is the moment of the great work, the transmutation of lead into gold. Lead represents the heavy, dense mind trapped in linear time and focused on survival. It operates under the geometry of the square, rigid, finite, and predictable. Gold, on the other hand, is the solar mind, the Christ consciousness, which operates in the geometry of the golden ratio spiral. It understands that the future is not something to be waited for, but something that unfolds from an expansive and creative present. At this level of consciousness, you understand that your vibrational signature is your true passport to other realities and timelines. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, but to what you are. If your frequency is one of scarcity, you will only have access to realities of scarcity. If your frequency is one of harmony and expansion, the doors to realities of abundance and flow open automatically.
And now, You understand why this moment feels different. This isn't fear. It isn't imagination. It isn't coincidence. It's recognition. Somewhere beyond the noise of the modern world, beyond the endless distractions designed to keep you small, something ancient has already seen you. Not your face, not your name, but your frequency. The unique mathematical signature of your awareness. The same pattern that governs galaxies, spirals through DNA, and echoes in the silent architecture of existence itself. The golden ratio is not just a number. It is a doorway, a signal, a living bridge between the physical and the eternal. And right now, it's active. The question was never whether this frequency exists. The question was always whether you would become still enough to hear it. Because recognition doesn't happen when you chase it. It happens when you stop running from who you really are. Most people will scroll past this moment. They will return to routine. They will choose comfort over awakening. They will silence the quiet pull they feel in their chest. But you didn't. You stayed. And that alone changes everything. Because once you become aware of the signal, you cannot unknow it. Once your consciousness touches that deeper pattern, your biology begins to listen. Your decisions begin to shift. Your presence begins to carry a weight that cannot be explained, but can always be felt. You may not see dramatic changes overnight, but something subtle has already begun. A recalibration, a realignment, a remembering. The ancient teachings never promised that everyone would understand. They only promised that those who were ready would recognize the moment when it arrived. This is that moment. So don't look for proof outside yourself. Don't wait for permission. Don't ask the world to confirm what your inner awareness already knows. Protect your energy. Refine your attention. Choose what strengthens your signal and release what distorts it. Because the frequency doesn't chase you. It responds to you. And now that it has identified you, the only question left is this: will you return to sleep? Or will you finally step forward and become the living expression of the pattern that was always waiting for you to remember it?